In their pursuit of ideological hegemony, professors often perform the most absurd and entertaining mental gymnastics. For example, saying that killing government officials you don't like isn't terrorism. What was the professor's rationale for this statement? You're about to find out. On a private listserv with other faculty, Brandeis University physics professor Bob Lange said in 2013 that whether or not the administration did or did not try to manage publicity, this Benghazi attack was not terrorism. The targets were not random Americans whose death would make us all fearful that it could be us. So it's not terrorism because the men yelling Allahu Akbar had specific targets? Just to verify, Campus Unmasked did a quick Google search of the word terrorism, and found that it's the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. So, unlawful? Check. Violence? Check. Especially as in exclusively. And it may have taken her 10 days after the carnage, but even then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton finally took responsibility for Benghazi and called it a terrorist attack. Now, you might recall that Obama administration members, including Clinton, originally blamed an anti-Islam YouTube video, The Innocence of Muslims, for spurring Benghazi. In discussing this topic, another Brandeis professor, Donald Hindley, expressed anger that NPR's reporting at the time made no mention of the Israeli Jew film creator and his American Jewish financiers. Typical for NPR News, serving what the Israeli government wants us Americans to know and believe, or not know and not believe. Profoundly shameful and anti-American. One tiny issue. The movie was created, produced, and promoted by an Egyptian Coptic Christian named Nakula Basli Nakula, not an Israeli. But it gets even crazier. Lange says it is not terrorism to kill representatives of a government that you are opposed to. Bravo! George Orwell would be proud of this doublethink, Professor Lange. The left has successfully weaponized terms like racist and Islamophobe to smear and even incite violence against political opponents, without defeating them fairly in argument. But God forbid anyone else dares use a term with power. Lange extrapolated his own definition of terrorism by applying it to the Israel-Palestine conflict, saying if an Israeli soldier protecting a settlement is killed by Palestinian militants, it is not terrorism. So I guess the professor truly believes public officials can't be victims of terrorism. You can't help but notice how this resembles the prejudice plus power drivel spewed by postmodernists in academia everywhere. Just like blacks aren't able to commit racism, Palestinians aren't able to commit terror against Israeli officials because they're supposedly not in power. Now you may be wondering, why do comments made in a private email chain between faculty matter? Well, no professor, no human is a perfect beacon of objectivity. Course syllabi, test questions, these are all, to some extent, going to reflect the professor's personal worldview. Let's air elements of these worldviews so that students, parents, and faculty colleagues can more easily identify bias and work to remedy it. As far as the email listserv is concerned, Brandeis University told Free Beacon that the opinions expressed by individual faculty members do not reflect the opinions of Brandeis University, and that the school upholds the principles of free speech and academic freedom for our students and faculty, which means that members of the community may hold many different opinions on a variety of topics and express them in ways that do not reflect the university's official position on a given issue. Those are both true, but so is the fact that sunlight is the best disinfectant. For Campus Unmasked, I'm Rob Shimshock.